we started feeding like in the outer sphere of the landfill, and then the staff around the landfill, they were like that you need to see the kids, they are famished, can you please help out there as well.
We realized that the entire landfill has not got a proper source of food and water, so which required an immediate attention that we try to become friends with all the animals living there. And yeah, it became a structural program for us now.
A year ago, Vasundhara and Kunal started feeding dogs at Ghazipur landfill. Today, they are feeding almost 400 dogs on the landfill. What made them start this feeding drive? Why is it important to feed the dogs on a landfill?
Vasundhara Anand and Kunal Bose drive across Delhi to this landfill. The couple leave their home in New Friends Colony before dawn. Their route begins at 3:30 am, stopping at places like Connaught Place and Okla before finally reaching Ghazipur around 7 am. Their mission? Feeding the stray dogs that live on the landfill. To feed the dogs, Anand and Bose carry an extraordinary amount of food. A typical feeding run includes
See, I think we landed in Ghazipur because our work, a lot of our advertising work happens around Ghazipur Full Mandi and in general flowers. So, but we'll end up seeing a lot of dogs, a lot of carcasses, a lot of scavenging happening, and we always wondered what is the situation like. So one day we decided with our feeding ground, let's just include it to see what's the state like. And then we realized like this really needs our attention. Then we started feeding like in the outer sphere of the landfill, and then the staff around the landfill, they were like that you need to see the kids, they are famished, can you please help out there as well. So we honestly were starting from the around periphery, but the guards, the rag pickers, the sorting guys, they kind of informed us that please can you look, and then we slowly started bring the entire landfill.
150 kilograms of rice and chicken, 40 kilograms of dry kibble, 40 liters of raw, 20 liters of water, 10 kilograms of wet cat food, and 10 kilograms of curd to help dogs cope with the heat. They also carry medicines, paint sprays, and feeding bowls in their vehicle. Much of the food is sourced from Paw Eats, a cloud kitchen near Jamia that prepares meals specifically for animal feeders.
The dogs do not get food and water on the garbage mountain here. They need to be fed on days.
For it's the first step, because that's how you get the senses, that's how you understand that what are the limitations, has the sterilization been done before or after, are the kids getting abandoned here. So, and also nutrition standpoint, yes, but also that gives you uh, it's a basic groundwork to understand the entire thing, like how many kids are there, everything, like so feeding is pretty much a starting point, and feeding is honestly pretty much the last sustainable point also, where you circle back also after sterilization, vaccination, you again circle back to feeding itself. So that's the entire thing, like it's the first point you have to start and you have to circle back to it only.
Yeah, and also without feeding, I will not know if there is like a disease outbreak, if there
Yeah.
is a some kind of crisis that's happening, some kind of a
Yeah, and
territorial
also
issue
without
that's
feeding,
happening.
it's quite unethical to put a dog through surgery or anything, because you don't know the health history. As it is, you don't know, because they're not staying with you 24/7, and that too if you don't feed regularly, so you don't know their health history. So it's a risk for them as well. We have to do sterilization. We really focus a lot on ABC, but it has to be safe sterilization also.
I mean, I don't know who's healthy enough to go for the operation also, who is how old. I mean, it's not just a statistical number that I have to stuff in the car or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
and before sterilization, there are other things which has to be done, like the deworming, the basic medication for open wounds and things like that. And those can only be done once you feed the kids.
They began rescuing sick and injured dogs in 2016. But when the COVID lockdown hit, the situation on the streets changed dramatically. With markets shut and offices closed, many stray dogs lost their scraps they once relied on from shopkeepers and residents. Across the city, animal feeders stepped in. Pink balls began appearing outside office complexes, construction sites, and empty plots, places where stray dogs suddenly had little access to food. They fed 350 dogs every day during COVID. With constant efforts, they have been able to create a compassionate community.
Yeah, like we said about community, it happens through the help of many
Yeah.
people who work and stay there. And all these kind people, when you come together, that's what we call community. And that's how we identify areas, and they are our eyes and ears, and they help us identify which
Yeah.
area needs more help. And slowly and steadily, we realize that the entire landfill has not got a proper source of food and water. So, which required an immediate attention that we try to become friends with all the animals living there. And yeah, it became a structural program for us now.
Um, was it difficult for you guys to first feel like what was the hindrance with dog with the people there?
People, not much so, because honestly, everybody is struggling there. Everybody, most of them are wage workers. So I don't think anybody has time or energy like in such a thing to have a drift. But major challenge has been a accessibility point of view. I think accessibility will be the major concern. Like either, let's say, a the topography is challenging, like b the weather concerns. Sometimes there is rain, sometimes it's like winters, like you can barely see anything. So more than anything, accessibility is a very big issue.
Yeah, I think natural causes is more of a thing.
Yeah,
And plus, winning the trust of all the dogs that live there
because
was
they've
a
been
big
ignored
challenge.
for so long
Yeah.
that it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, now that they've started trusting us, you've seen that they come out and start waiting for the car and howling for food. They've understood that this is food in the first
Yeah.
place. They didn't know what is food. So, yeah, so that was a bigger challenging thing. But yeah, we are quite a few steps ahead. So, we are hopeful that we'll reach there in a
Slow and
sustainable
steady.
way. Yeah. I mean, the same people on ground, there's a lot of change over the years. I mean, the same people who were like, "यहाँ पे खाना मत डालो, don't put food in front of my XYZ place or something," are the same people who have seen over the years how the kids have thrived. The kids have reduced in numbers. They have done less scavenging, less hunting, less fighting, less
And also
bites.
they are also very happy कि आप लोग जब खाना खिला के जाते हो तो then तो they are just like sleeping in a corner, then they are sorted.
Yeah, so I agree with you.
Giving his opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
please.
then, when the kids are not as rowdy and not as feral, then they have also turned into the
Because
fact.
you have to understand, a lot of aggression does come from mistreatment and hunger.
Yeah.
So that itself, again, feeding solves it. So yeah.
So basically, coming back to that, the change is that same guy comes running to me and asks for medicine. Ki okay, so and so XYZ dog needs help right now. So can you help me with? Can you help me with the same?
Kaju,
Yeah.
come back.
काजू इधर आओ.
Kaju.
नहीं.
Yeah.
मतलब बट मेरा इंटरव्यू कौन लेगा? You have some points to give? Do you have some points to give? नहीं? You don't want to talk. He's a little shy. Uh, so yeah, then the same person who was ignorant is now compassionate is, I think, a big victory and a big win.
This is Manisha Mandal reporting from Ghazipur landfill for The Print.